Writers, can I be honest with you? Last night, I studied my reader's notebook and I noticed that I was kind of in a writing about reading rut. Sure, I've got the new timeline I made yesterday, but otherwise, I've been writing about hidden figures in the same way every day on every page. It feels like the writing about reading I'm doing is less than useful. It got me thinking that this kind of thing happens to readers all the time. I bet it's happening to some of you too. I'm worried that we might all be writing about reading because we're supposed to, and not because it's helping us to be more thoughtful or to be more clearly communicating the critical points our books teach. I couldn't stop thinking about this last night, so I started reading anything I could get my hands on about how people get better, how they outgrow the work they're currently doing. And I came across a quote by Albert Einstein, and I think his quote might help. Here it is. A new type of thinking is essential if mankind is to survive and move toward higher levels. Here's what I think. If you keep moving forward doing the same things with your writing about reading, you'll get the same results. I think that to solve this problem, you'll have to rise above it. You have to move to the next level, like this quote suggests. Are you up for it? To rise above your current writing about reading, I thought it might help to study some totally different kinds of text, some that look pretty different from the notebook pages you've created, and ask, what can these texts teach us about how to take our writing about reading to a newer level? There are a ton of innovative ways that people create and share information and ideas. I thought we could take a close look at one today. Infographics. Infographics are just what they sound like, graphics that teach information. They look totally different than the notebook pages you've been making, but I'm hoping that studying these will help take your writing about reading to the next level and give you renewed energy for writing about reading. I'm going to silently show you a bunch of infographics, and I'm going to ask you to study them. But our focus today isn't on what the infographics are teaching, but rather on how they are teaching you this content. Will you study them, thinking, what can these visuals teach us about how to take our writing about reading to the next level? Jot down your ideas in your reading notebook about what you can learn from these visuals right on the paper. Use arrows to show where exactly your observations come from. And remember to keep your focus on how the infographics teach, not what they teach. All right, let's get started. Readers, take a minute to compare your notes with mine. If you just read on in your books today, chances are your writing about reading will look the same as it has every other day. So I'm proposing today's reading time look quite a bit different. Instead of heading off to read, will you head off your work and your notebook pages? I'm imagining you'll need to talk a bit, think a bit, reread, and write and innovate a lot to make your notebook pages really powerful. You'll have to think about ways to capture all the complex thinking you've been doing about how the parts of your text fit together, like the cause and effect work you did yesterday. Just imagine how that might play out on the page. Start thinking about what you want to create first, and then get started. Off you go.